This is Confidential Conversations. Today we have Rich Freed with us, singer-songwriter from Glasgow, citizen of Canada, very new, very exciting. Been here for a couple years now, pretty immersed in the scene, been pursuing music, doing music for years now. How did you get started in music? Like what got you into, from a hobby into actually doing this as a career, something you're following?
I started learning guitar when I was 13. I remember I begged my dad. I had a few music classes at school. I had not really much interest in music before I had a few classes, and I remember just picking up the guitar and being like, this is great. And then I begged my dad to buy my guitar and give me lessons, and he was like, this is going to be another thing that I spend loads of money on and it collects dust. But I was like, no, I promise you I'm gonna learn it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I did, because I got lessons for about 3 years, and I began songwriting when I was about 15, and I was very eager to start a band, because I started writing songs, and I was quite prolific with my songwriting. Straight away, I'm still quite proud of the songs I wrote when I was 15 or 16.
Mm-hmm. Lyrics wise or composition?
No, not lyrics wise so
Okay.
much, but yeah, the actual composition, the
That's the other
melody and the structure.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I think I've always.
It's your knack.
Yeah, I think I only finish songs that I get stuck in my head.
Yeah.
I don't even like to.
I find it
make voice
surprising.
recordings.
Yeah, things that get stuck in my head. Sometimes I'm writing and I'm like, days later, I'm like, I wasn't expecting that to be the one that, that stuck with me.
Exactly. I don't like to do many voice notes. I mean, sometimes I do, but the ones that get the best response I find are the ones that they get stuck in my head. I don't have to record it, write it down. It's just
That's interesting.
it's that catchy that I feel driven. Sometimes it's a slog to go and put lyrics to the melodies that I've been writing, but yes, sometimes I just have to. It's I have to finish the song, because it's just going around in my head all the time. So I always kind of get that drive, and I have that bug that I need to get my music out there and write songs and perform to people, because it's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
So,
I've definitely heard there's this fine line between. It's hard because at some point you're like, I want to make money doing this, and I'm doing it because I love it. I'm really passionate about it. It's not about the money, but it would be nice to make money doing it, right?
Yeah, I know. That's what people always say. It's oh, it's good to keep it as a hobby, but it would be nice not to have to work a 9-to-5 job 40 hours a week for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
where I could focus on, my passion.
But you started when you were 14, 15
Yeah.
in bands, and now you just had a launch party last night. That's huge.
Yeah, no, it's great. I've been getting amazing feedback, and I've got this great band together, and everything's kind of falling into place now. And it feels like I'm, actually at the next level.
Things are
I've
happening
kinda
now.
Stepped up. Yeah, no, it's exciting for sure.
I saw did you put together the launch party?
Actually, it was another band, Red Caravan, that they're the ones who booked the show and asked if my band would play. And I had the song. I was still waiting for the mastering process to get finished.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, the gig's about a month away, so I may as well kind of tie it in, because I really wanted to get out there. So I ended up kind of taking over a lot of the management of it. I made the poster, and then it was only going to be the two of us. But then I was very insistent at getting my bass player's other band, Spiral Palace, on the bill. And they were so good. It was only their second gig, so it was gonna a bit of a gamble, but they were amazing. And the whole night last night at the launch party was amazing. It was just such a great atmosphere. Everyone played super well.
Yeah. Looked like you had a good turnout.
Yeah, no, it was a great turnout as well.
Yeah.
I've been booking shows for so long that it doesn't feel like too much pressure, really. As long as the venue's booked, just someone has to make the poster. I've been getting quite into using Photoshop and
Well, and knowing you have your girlfriend who is an artist.
Yeah,
that's
she's an artist.
great-
Actually, she recently did a bunch of watercolor art that has been really useful. And she's got a high quality scanner.
Well, and having someone that's skilled in that and knows what they're doing. You said you got your music mastered and mixed, and you recorded in a really nice studio, and that made a huge difference.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Having those people with those skills working on your stuff, it's steps everything up when you're not doing everything by yourself, I think.
Yeah. Sometimes it's you feel like you have to do everything on your own. I during the pandemic, I kind of started my own home studio. I bought all the equipment, and I've been learning how to use like Ableton and really delving into it. And it was a much better experience working with someone who was as passionate about music as me, even like more so, and knows, you know, music production on a deeper level, and we could both kind of bounce ideas off each other. So that was definitely like a really valuable process. For peace of mind, it was actually like, so my friend Marcelo Maltese, he's the drummer of a band, or two bands, Young Scones and Howling Gales. I think, like, you know, I've been into different studios with producers that, you know, are really professional and well known and experienced, but working with people that you really know well and trust and get along with, I made the whole process, first of all, so much more like fun, because it was like we were joking around and just trying different things, but
a little more easygoing, a little more free, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And like, I was amazed like just how much we managed to get done in just one day. Yeah, and it just all came together amazingly. I was so surprised when he sent me the first mix. I was like, we did that? Like, it didn't sound like that in the studio, but I don't know what you did to it, but it sounds amazing now. So no, it was a really amazing experience.
That's awesome.
I really want to go back and record with him again, but he's super busy. I think he's started a third band now, and so
it's tough finding those relationships, like finding that connection with somebody to make something without it being. It's hard enough to make music or record in the studio and have it be in this atmosphere. It's hard to work with people that you're still navigating your relationship with them at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's pros and cons to it. Sometimes it's good to get like a fresh perspective, someone
outside opinion kind of thing.
Yeah, and work with someone that's completely new. And sometimes you can just gel with someone straight away. And definitely it's amazing how different collaborations create like totally different sound, even on the same song. So it's always interesting, but I kind of knew that the song Peace of Mind, it is the kind of like higher energy rock and roll song, very influenced by like British rock, and I knew that Marcelo and Gary, because Gary's also Scottish, so, and we have very similar influence from like British rock, so like that was a good song to bring to them to record. Whereas like I've got other songs that are maybe a bit more folky, and the other producers might be more suited to that. So, but I definitely am happy how it worked out for this particular song.
Well, coming from Scotland to here through the pandemic, it's amazing that you've built such a network of people here that you can play with, collaborate with.
Yeah, definitely. I moved here kind of good timing. It was in March 2018, so a bit of time before the pandemic. So things happened very quickly for me when I moved here. Met my girlfriend. I got this opportunity to host an open mic, and I started a band, and I found a studio apartment.
That's crazy.
Everything happened right all at once, so it kind of felt like everything just
kind
of fell into place very quickly, and I managed to sustain it. And like, you know, I think I got my job just at the right time, that I had enough experience to apply for permanent residency. Worked out well, but as I said, like I had an open mic night quite shortly after moving to Canada. Like
you found one?
I was hosting the open mic night at the Remix Lounge, which used to be like Dundas and Dovercourt in the West End, and it's something I always wanted to do, is host an open mic night, and that was an amazing way of like meeting people and kind of establishing myself in the Toronto music scene.
So how did you get that opportunity?
It's funny, like I remember that was kind of all I was doing when I first moved to Canada, was going out to open mics like most nights of the week. And I remember like we went to check out Remix Lounge open mic. They had one. And I remember going there, and it was not very busy. They didn't even have like a house guitar. But I got chatting to the bartender, and me and her ended up becoming quite good friends, a girl Lex. And she was telling me that the owners aren't sure about this open mic, and I was like, well, for the last 4 months, that's all I've been doing, is going to open mics. So I know a lot of musicians in the scene, and I've been wanting to host one for ages. And she was like, yeah, let me introduce you to the owners. And I was like, yeah, I could totally, because they were going to get like another guy, but they weren't sure about him. And I was like, I
can do this.
Yeah, I remember I had the opportunity before in Glasgow to host one, but then I was like, oh, maybe I'll send you a plan and we'll think about it for the next few months. But it's like, I realized that with bars, you need to just be like, right, this Sunday, let's do it. I'm going to come in and I'm going to host it.
Yeah.
So I kind of just jumped on it, and and I just met Kate at the time, who's my girlfriend, who's animator, illustrator, and she made this amazing poster. And I think once you've got the poster for it, like that makes it real. And then I just kind of went for it, and yeah, I kept that going every week for 2 years.
Wow.
But unfortunately, like the bar closed down at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But you know, like at that point, I ended up moving in with my girlfriend in the East End, so
it worked out.
It worked out.
For you.
And I'm hosting
anyways.
another open mic now at the Dive Shop.
Yeah, I was gonna say
East End, so,
same thing, or
well, it's a quite different vibe there. Like, it's a much smaller place, so it's really just acoustic acts. Yeah, it's on Thursdays, so which I think is better.
Thursday open mic, the
Thursday
Dive
open
Shop.
Mic. Yeah, no,
come on out.
It's a great vibe there, and the food there is amazing, especially the fried chicken. I would recommend coming just for that.
Yeah, I checked out the pictures. It's got a nice vibe. I think I like the photos in there. I haven't been in myself.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like I expected it to be some kind of like dive bar, but it's actually a really beautiful
nice.
bar with like it's like a diving shop, like a kind of like beach bar theme.
I saw you were doing live sound there too for something.
Yeah, so like on
the Remix Project or something, or no, it was North Music City.
Music City North.
Yeah.
So they're kind of in charge of booking all the music acts, because on a Thursday basically they have like a showcase, and it's like 3 acts play for 45 minutes. I do live sound for the showcase, and then host the open mic afterwards. So I wasn't really looking to host another open mic. It kind of just I agreed to play one of the showcases, and then got in a conversation with Jeannie from Music City North, and I told her that I used to host one, and
she was like, lucky for you.
Yeah, no, she's like, well, we kind of need someone, and
wow.
I kind of like changed my mindset just to say yes to most things, and at least try, and ended up I loved it, and
well, it came with so many extra things. It sounds like,
yeah,
unexpected.
I mean, it's definitely a worthwhile venture. Like as a musician, like just being able to meet so many like-minded people. Last night I needed a guitar player to play the show, and one of the regulars there was an amazing guitar player, and he ended up, he's now part of the band as the lead guitar player, and he's amazing. So it's like, just for that alone, it's been worth it, so no, it's been great. Like, I've really enjoyed being part of that kind of open mic scene, and it's definitely helped me so much to build a network. Like, I've got quite an extensive network, especially like people from before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing, like going to a lot of, local shows or other open mics, and there's almost always someone that I know from one of the open mics.
Yeah.
So it's nice to walk into a bar and see like 3 or 4 people that you recognize.
Yeah, it's kind of homey. It's like a community. You know?
It's a great community, and like it definitely, a lot of people complain about Toronto, like, it'd be hard to meet people, but it's definitely not been my experience. I've found that, like,
you have to put yourself out there a little bit, it sounds like.
Yeah, no, I definitely you have to
be brave.
Be kind of brave. I think open mics are kind of underrated, especially for like non-musicians, as a place to go. I mean, fair enough, like, you might not want to go if you're not going to perform, but the amount of talent and just quality of music you're getting for free, and then it's such an easy way to like meet someone. You just say like, hey, are you performing tonight, or that was an amazing set, or anything like that, and then suddenly you're in a 20-minute conversation. And no, I've really enjoyed that, and I really encourage people to do it, and I definitely am happy that I get to contribute to it as a host. So
most of the people I've chatted with are very positively into the open mics.
I mean, even when I do
them.
drag along friends that really aren't interested, I'm like insisting that, oh, just come along, please.
Yeah.
They end up having the best time. They're like, I did not expect it to be this fun.
Well, there's so much variety usually. The ones I've been to, I'm like, there's people rapping, there's people like singing with their acoustic guitars, there's people up there screaming. Like,
you expect it's just all going to be like
sad songs on an acoustic guitar.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
That's usually me. But no, it's amazing how much variety you get. Like, and everyone's extremely talented, and that's the great thing about Toronto, I think, is just like there's such a wide variety of cultures here that bring their own styles to their music, and getting to witness that is amazing.
Well, and everybody gets to be part of your stuff then. Everybody gets to be sort of, and when I'm looking through your social media, it looks like you're working with a lot of people. You got a lot of people involved in your just in
Yeah.
the process even, or the bands that are playing at the launch party, you know, that's great that you have all these people. You know?
Yeah, like you can take it for granted, I guess, but yeah, like I suppose I have done quite a few collaborations, and I do a lot of shows, and
It's
you know,
huge.
obviously, yeah, like there's
It's awesome.
always different people that I'm meeting, and it's quite funny sometimes, like when I meet someone new, and uh, especially if they're at all into the music scene, if I like connect with them, I've already got like 40 mutual friends with them.
Yeah, that's funny.
So
Eh?
it's
It's
just a
smaller than
nice
you
thing.
think. I
Yeah.
think the
But also, it's kind of interesting how, you know, obviously, it's such a big city that there'll be maybe a new open mic or a gig kind of out the way, and it'll be like a completely different crowd of talented, you know, musicians. There's just endless amount of, you know, talented people in this city that, you know, I feel like I know everybody, but I've barely scratched the surface, you know.
yeah.
So
Oh,
I
it sounds
guess,
like you've built a good reputation. Like obviously, it's you're just
Yeah.
hanging out, you're showing up, you're playing well. You know.
Yeah, I think like that's something that I never like to cancel a show or like you know agree to or say
you
no
have
to things.
integrity. You know.
Yeah,
Like,
like
it
I
sounds
think
like
it's
you're.
important to have integrity and be a man of your word.
Yeah.
And I think
People
you know,
appreciate that in the
yeah.
music scene, especially. I think.
No, for sure. I mean, I may not always turn up right on time, but at least I always turn up. So I think it goes a long way when you know someone's doing an event and they can trust that you'll be there and
Yeah.
give it your all.
You're not. They're
you know?
not gonna have to worry about you. They're not gonna have to chase you down. They're not gonna.
Exactly.
You know. That's. I think that's huge.
Things snowball as well. Like you do one event and then someone from there asks you to do another event and then someone from there asks you to do another event, or people just see that you are someone that is regularly gigging. So it's amazing how suddenly you just get bombarded with gig offers.
Yeah.
Because people know that you're going for it and that you're
Yeah.
capable of it. So
You're exciting because you're doing your stuff. Like you're involved, and they see that you're doing stuff, and they're like,
yep, exactly.
"Come be part of my stuff." You know. You said you're kind of taking the next step on things, or you feel like you're at a point that's you've never been at this point before. You know, what are you doing differently now, or what's kind of what's changed?
I didn't realize as well like how much you should get prepared before it gets released. There's a lot of playlists to apply for, and just like in general, you want to have like promotional material ready for when it is released, and obviously you want to like set up interviews like this or like with other places.
Well, I saw
so-
the Canadian media blog. I think
Canadian Beats, yeah,
Canadian
yeah.
Beats.
So like,
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who reached out to me asking me if I wanted PR services, which I had been thinking about because I was like, I wasn't sure if I wanted to, you know, spend a lot of money on this, but he gave me a really good deal because he's kind of just starting and he's worked with other PR companies, so he knows what they can do, and he was like very confident, and he has proved himself to do like an amazing job so far of booking like different interviews and like get me played on the radio. I think I'm actually getting played tonight on the radio on one radio station. He got me onto this blog. It's the first blog so far that's posted.
Yeah, a review.
Which is great. Like
It's
seeing
so cool.
someone, you know, that I don't even know talk about a piece of art that I've made. Like, no, that exactly. Like, it makes me feel like a professional, and I'm like at.
You are a professional.
Level.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're doing
well,
it. You're doing it.
Yeah. People, I'm like, oh yeah, like. I'm a real musician, and like everyone's like, you've always been a real musician. I'm like, you know, sometimes it's like you have your heroes and you have your favorite artists, and they seem like almost like fictional characters.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to, you know, insert yourself into that same role of all your heroes.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I think.
When does it become real? I guess. To
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, for this like release, I was very adamant that I wasn't gonna just okay something that wasn't ready. I was gonna like, if I had to, like, I actually re-recorded the vocals for Peace of Mind at home because I wasn't happy with the first take that I did, and then the amount of back and forth I had with the producer, yeah, I don't know if you want to work with me again, because like I was very particular about the mixing process and even the mastering process, like, but the end result I'm super happy with. So like, I'm like, this I think sounds professional enough that it could get played on the radio, it could come on a playlist.
Well, it is,
and people could actually end up liking it and sharing it, and I think that's like the approach. I'm like basically the trial and error that I've had have definitely informed this process now for me, and like as well, getting this PR guy. And
I was gonna say that's crazy that you're working with a PR person who's fairly new, and the amount that they're able to do for you just to
Yeah, no, I've been impressed. Like he kept telling me like, oh, I've got things in the pipeline. Then last night he was actually at the show last night, and he showed me this document of all the blogs that I'm going to get posted on, all the radio stations, and I'm like, I had no idea like
that's
that
so
it was
exciting.
this extensive. So I'm excited that like I can't wait to tune into all the radio stations and hear
you were on the radio.
My song. Yeah, no, for sure. It's really exciting.
Wow, that is so cool. That's huge.
Yeah, like the last time I released a song, I just made artwork on some app that I converted my photo into like an AI art, and I realized now that that's kind of a lazy way of doing things. And I have my girlfriend who's an amazing illustrator, and she was quite excited to make the artwork, and she like hand drew this cool picture of
the brain. Yeah,
where it says
very
peace of
cool.
mind, and it was we kind of collaborated on the idea, but I was like,
she made it real.
It could be something very simple. You don't have to spend much time on it. But she's a perfectionist, and she spent like a week kind of tweaking it and getting it perfect. And just the whole package of things. The song sounds good. The artwork's great. I've got a whole PR campaign. It feels like I'm making a professional go at it, and it's definitely reflecting in the it's definitely paying off in the feedback and the engagement I've had so far. So like now I feel like I've done it once. I can do it again, and every time I do it, hopefully, will be better and better. So. Yeah, like it's.
Well, I think the value too in finding people that specialize in the things that you need to get done, right? That's a huge thing.
I think like that's the thing. Working with people that are professionals instead of trying to do it all myself. Like
I think you can do it yourself to an extent, but I'm not good at everything.
Yeah, like I think sometimes you have to kind of pick and choose what. Because I feel like with the PR stuff, like I'm still doing it on my own, but then having someone else is also doing it, like, just makes
it's like a burden lifted.
Yeah, a lot of burden. Because I remember, like, on previous releases, I just felt guilty if I wasn't constantly sending emails and constantly trying to like promote it. But now I'm like
stressful.
Anything I do is like on top of what this guy Brian's doing for me, and moving to a new place, being right downtown, and having that focus of meeting people in the music scene makes a difference. And it's kind of like
being right in the action.
Being right in the action as well.
Yeah, and probably like, I guess you said you were here for a bit and then you went back, and you kind of make a direct comparison of your experience, I guess.
I'd say everything is much kind of closer knit. Like the city centre of Glasgow, there's like 3 main streets where everything happens.
Like smaller.
So it's
more intimate.
It's much more intimate, and there's definitely places around, but I'd say like everything really happens on like 3 streets. I had my family there, and they were quite supportive, so I'd always have maybe at least 5 to 10 tickets
already sold.
Sell. And compared to here, I don't have that luxury because I don't have much family here. I usually promote the show like on social media, but I find the way to get people to shows is to
actually talk to them
personally. And
you're not wrong.
I think I put it off because honestly it's my least favorite part about
it's hard to do that.
I always feel like, oh, this person probably does not want
I'm obligating them to
but there's so often that people
they can
have
say
been
no.
super appreciated that like I've reached out to them and they've come to the show and been like, it's
personal. When you reach out, when I get a message from somebody, I'm like, oh, you thought of me. You want me at your show. That's so cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think there's a fine line between like being sold tickets to something, like come to my show and buy a ticket, to being like, oh, I'd love to see you there. Like please come to my show.
No, exactly. I obviously like.
You're part of the community. Like I want you there.
It's I think having a record that's available for people to listen to on the internet means that you can reach an audience that you can't reach from just playing live.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
hopefully, I mean, it's only been a day since that song got released, but hopefully it gets onto playlists and people share it. And
well, it sounds like you're doing all the right things. You got the ball rolling.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe like, from this interview, I might get some fans or getting played on the radio and stuff. I mean,
well, like based on what you've been doing, the shows, your launch party last night, I kind of did like a little look through what was going on. Like people are excited, people are involved. It looks like you have a big team. I think you have a community, which is kind of the biggest part of the whole thing.
No,
you know?
I mean, I have been seeing like similar faces at the shows, so it's like definitely people are enjoying it and wanting to come back and support us. And and
collaborating with you, like the PR guy reaching out to you, it believes in you, or he wouldn't be promoting your stuff,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So people,
it's huge.
Yeah, people really believe in it, are really positive about it, and it's amazing being able to like have songs that I wrote in my bedroom become real songs and they're actually connecting with people and people are excited about it. It's a really great feeling for sure.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, no,
the future is now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, definitely. Like, it's an exciting time, and like, I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. Like, I guess things can hopefully only improve and get better as well. Like,
I think so.
I've been getting singing lessons, and that's been a huge difference. Every show, I think it's improving, and also. Yeah, just the network of people that I'm working with, how tight my band are, and how well they know the songs, and we're playing together is getting better and better. And just hopefully it just keeps kind of building and building. I realized that I couldn't just sit back and do it as a hobby. I'm really proud of the songs that I've written, and I definitely feel like I've gained a skill over the years, and like
there's no other option.
Yeah, there's really no other option. I go to shows and I'm like, I could do that.
Yeah, why aren't I out there?
I mean, sometimes I'm like, I could do that better.
That's a good feeling.
So I'm like, why haven't I? And, I'm glad that I've kind of got that motivation again. And the ball's rolling, and it's all happening. So I'm very excited about where it's gonna go from here. So well, thank you for coming in today, Rich Fried again. Check out his new single, Peace of Mind. And we'll see you guys next time. That's it.